Welcome to another exciting edition of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy. It is Friday morning, 6:30 in the morning. Got a little dew on the car. Got the directions and we're heading off to a huge sale, a 3-day long sale. We're going for 1 day. Got a couple of dollars in my pocket there and all set to go. Got the bags in the back to carry the treasures we find. And hopefully this video will be posting Monday with some incredible deals. Wish us luck. So we're heading on into town over here, and looks a little bit sparser than usual. Usually it's as far as the eye can see people. Now we're there a little bit early and it is June, but you see all those empty spots over there? Those usually have lots and lots of people set up in it. So then we head on into the tent. Now they've got 3 very, very large tents. Kind of going through over here. Now, I'd gone through this earlier, so we're kind of heading back to buy something or other. But it just kind of give you an idea of the number of people that are there. And as you had seen, there was a rug person, et cetera, a lot of specialty people. Just dealer after dealer of stuff, artwork, a lot of glassware, jewelry, as we see as we pass over there. And probably a lot of people are screaming right now at the camera going, "Oh, you should have stopped and looked at that. You should have looked at that. That looked really, really good." But even as we're trying to make our way through, if you notice how slowly I'm moving on my way through, it's a little bit difficult because there are a lot of people there that have got carts with them, which is actually a pretty good idea, really, when you think about it, at least in the outdoor section. Having the cart is great because it can be a pretty long walk to get to your car. But people just stop right in the middle of the thing, and it's not overly wide there. And then you've got a lot of other people there, as you just saw. I got walkers, all that sort of thing. So it is a little bit difficult to walk through. Luckily, it was an absolutely beautiful day. But on the first time through, I didn't buy anything underneath the tent. Here we're heading on into the second tent. I did not purchase anything under the tent. I am going back to purchase something or other. That was a great shot right there. But there are a lot of interesting things as you see. You got various paintings, you got various prints, all that sort of thing. So it is a lot of fun. One of the problems that I had was it was about 20% full versus what it usually is. The tents were all filled up. For the most part. I think we just went by an empty spot right there. The tents were all filled up, but we had a lot of different areas, various fields that usually had a lot of stuff in them, and there was absolutely nothing in them whatsoever. So I would say it was probably 20% filled versus what it usually is. That being said, this show is a June show. The one I usually go to is an August show. See, people just kind of stop right in the middle there. People, gets a little bit annoying when you're kind of in a hurry to walk through because people don't pay any attention whatsoever to where they're going and you get stuck behind them. Can be a lot of fun when you're carrying stuff. To cut to the end of the video, right now I'll give you a bit of a spoiler alert. I did end up buying some stuff. There we are taking a look at a bunch of magazines. Now the interesting thing about those magazines is they all had prices from like an antique mall on them. I mean, they were reasonably priced, $1, $2 each, but there was nothing any good there, so we didn't end up buying anything. But spoiler alert, I did end up buying 4 boxes of comic books, which again you'll see right near the end. Oh, where did I go? Right there. But it would be almost impossible to carry the boxes through the tent just because of the number of people and all that sort of thing. And I'm making pretty good time because I'd seen everything before. But I ended up going outside the tent, carrying the boxes outside the tent back to the car, and then carrying it all the way back. See, there's a gentleman there with a cart, which again is a great idea when you're outside because there's a lot of room outside. But when you're underneath the small confines of the tent, it gets to be a little bit difficult because they've also got, as you just see, all those tent poles up as well. But definitely, if you have an opportunity to go to one of these sales like this, it's definitely well worth it. There we are outside again. Just a beautiful, beautiful day. There is a show like this in August, and it ends up being an 8-day show. Now, obviously, I don't go to all 8 days. I go to like 2 or 3 days of it. But inevitably, they have a 1 day completely rained out. And as you see, it's all grass fields and all that. These people are lucky they're set up underneath the tent, but you get the people set up outside that inevitably get rained out at least one full day. So that gets a little bit tough for them as well. And I'm just laughing, just watching myself trying to walk through the thing and just constantly running into people that, just stop right in the middle. But yep, there we are. We're heading on in over there to the comic books that I ended up buying. I had looked at them earlier, and those 3 boxes right there will, spoiler alert, wind up in the car at the end. And here we are back at the car, just kind of giving an overall view of the parking lot and the 3 tents. And then normally there's field after field after field filled up with people. There aren't very many over here. But there we are with the fruits of our labor, the 3 comic boxes and a bin full of comic books as well. I'm going to show you a quick view of those as well. Dell Comics, a lot of Dell Comics. Unfortunately, when I put them in there, there's some paperback books and everything. And then we've got some more comic books in there. Just neat things that we'll show you at the end of the video. Talk to you a little bit about going to these large shows and buying the stuff as well. So do hit the like button, and there you are.
Papergoy here again. Well, did pick some stuff up. Ended up spending a fair amount of money, all because of one deal. As I probably said earlier in the voiceover when we were showing the place, was about 40% filled on half the town. The other half the town didn't have anybody in it. Kind of walked over the bridge where there's tons and tons of tables and things like that. There wasn't anybody in there. So overall, it probably was 25% filled from what it usually is. They usually have a 7 to 8 day show in August. I went to a June show, which I've never gone to before, and I'm not certain if I'm going to go to it next year or not. It's a couple hours away. Had to take time off of work, etc., etc. Did end up salvaging it and ended up doing pretty well, I think. So kind of walking around, a little bit of a tip to you, which unfortunately I didn't follow and I didn't realize. Had I known how small it was, had I come in from a different way and seen how small it was, I would have spent more time when I was going through the people's booths. If you think that there's going to be 1,000 dealers, obviously you can't spend all day at every stand. Turns out there might have been 200 dealers, so certainly it was a lot smaller, and I would have spent a lot more time looking through things. That being said, a guy did have these books, which are the 1950s and 60s, Unfaithful Wives, I Magazine, Ladies Man, that kind of thing, Gang Girl. They're kind of those risque kind of books from back in the 1950s. This entire stack, not the greatest of shape, but still this entire stack for $10. Cannot go wrong with that. 1 or 2 of these is probably a better book. I don't know which ones, unfortunately, but for $10 can't go wrong. Kind of walked through the town, and as I said, there was nobody on the one side of the bridge, so we started walking back, and all of a sudden I noticed a suitcase opened up that I had not noticed before. Now, maybe it wasn't there, maybe the guy had put the suitcase up, or maybe he set up while we were kind of walking around. But either way, I did go through the suitcase, and he didn't have anything priced. So I said, how much are the things in here? And he said, it varies, which is absolutely the worst answer, varies. Well, that doesn't help me any. And then he said a couple of dollars a piece. And I used on him the old line that I've heard some dealers before. He goes, well, we'll make a pile. And I go, I'll make a pile and you'll make me smile, which is a stupid old joke that a lot of the dealers use. And he laughed and said, yeah, of course. Ended up paying $15 for this stack over here, but it has some pretty neat things in there. A couple of Kentucky Derby things in here, which will definitely sell. I wish I had these a couple of months ago, but they'll sell. Kentucky Derby stuff sells anytime. Tournament record books for the PGA, which aren't great, but they will end up selling. I mean, I haven't had them before, but I can figure out from what they are, a lot of stats and stuff. They'll end up selling. Auto racing guide. But these over here are kind of interesting. Information for press, radio, television. And this one is women's golf. And it actually has some women's golfers from back in the day. So that's going to be kind of a rarer type item because only the people in the press would have gotten that. So that one over there, I'm going to put a little bit higher price on just because of that. But like I said, $15 for 9 items. I can't possibly go wrong. Those couple of Kentucky Derbies, I'm sure will go for $20, $25 a piece. So can't argue with that. Well, meanwhile, there was a gentleman with comics, older comics, and he wanted $3 a piece. And I said, how much for all of them? And he said, well, I can't really deal too much on them. And he said, I got some out in the car as well. And he showed me the ones out in the van. And he wanted $1,100 for all of them. And he said, walk around, think about it, don't just buy. And because it was very, very early as well, had I known how few dealers there were, I probably would have bought right away. Well, I came back, and I said to the guy, I go, I'll probably be back. I said, just kind of work on the price if you sell some. And he said, yeah, of course, of course. Well, I came back, and first thing I noticed is the one box was missing a bunch of comics out of it. So I said, oh, you sold a bunch, huh? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, I'll take everything you have left. And so he figured out what he had sold, worked his price down, ended up charging me $800, and I ended up getting 3 boxes, small comic boxes, and a half-filled bin. Now, it's got some interesting stuff in it. They're basically almost all Dell comics, which aren't hot. But, you know, you got Tip Top with Charlie Brown, a couple of those. You got some of the Dell Giants, a couple of newer ones, but primarily all 1950s comic books. There are some war, there are some Western. I did see at least one superhero in here. I didn't really do much of a look through because the condition is, you know, VG plus in general. And at that price, if you figure 150 comics here, 153, he was figuring about $2 a comic, I think. So 400 comics. There's definitely more than 400 comics there. There's probably 550, something or other like that. So I ended up paying about $1.25 to $1.40 each. You know, Casper number 4. I mean, that'll definitely sell there. It's missing a little piece. Casper number 10. So definitely some neat little things, you know, early Uncle Scrooge number 10, et cetera, et cetera. At that kind of price, you can't go wrong. What I'm going to end up doing on these comics is I'm listing a lot of comics on $million peddlers, $million peddlers on eBay. And what I'm doing is I'm putting them all up at fixed price. So I'll figure out a price on them that's fair to me and fair to my buyers. I mean, that's fairly high grade, really, for what it is. That's, you know, fair to everybody, and I'll just kind of do bulk listing on them. And like, for instance, this is Bugs Bunny number 70. So I'll list Bugs Bunny 70, Bugs Bunny 68, Bugs Bunny 66, and just pound out the listings old school, because I really don't have to look a lot of these up because, you know, there aren't too many key issues in these things, and kind of put them all up and, you know, scamp and all that, and sell through them. Whatever my price is, $12, $15, whatever my price is, and just sell through them, list them all right in the store. Should sell fairly quickly. They're new to market, and just had to have the $800 to invest in them, and now I have to have the time to sort them all out, and then have the time to get them all listed. So overall, was it worth going? Yeah, all because of this one deal. Am I going to go next June? I'm not really sure about that. There is the other show in August out that way, which I will be going to, and I'm certain I'll be putting up a bonus video on that as well. I want to gauge how that is, because that's an 8-day show, believe it or not. This is only a 3-day show. If I go out to the 8-day show and it's at 40% of normal capacity, then I probably won't be going out next year, June, because it won't be worthwhile. So it's kind of sad. And in fact, I did message Primetime, friend of the channel, Primetime Treasure Hunter, because he's up in that area, and I messaged him and said, don't even bother going. It's definitely not worth your time. It's at about 20 to 25% capacity overall versus what it usually was. And he said that's really, really sad, and he's hoping that the other show in August is better as well, because I know he's planning on going to that also. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you see kind of the kind of deals that are out there. And one other quick thing is, this gentleman that I bought these comics from, I did ask him if he was coming to the next show, you know, in August, and he said yes, and he'd have more stock. And I said, well, good, I'll have some more money and I'll buy some more stuff off of you. So hopefully in August I'm buying similar stuff like this, and hopefully I'll have enough of this stuff sold in the meantime to make it well worth my while. So hopefully you liked the video. Hit the like button. Do hit the shows with some money in your pocket. This was an antique show type deal. Do hit them with the money in your pocket. The deals are out there. I'm not going to get rich off of this by any means. There's no, from what I've seen, I mean, I only went through about, you know, 15% of the collection, just kind of did a quick run through it. Not going to get rich off it. There's no $1,000 comics in here or anything at all like that. But it's nice, honest money, nice, honest comics that'll get listed and will sell. So can't really argue about that. In one aspect, I'm buying work, but listing them the bulk listing, quick way, and just leaving a little bit of money on the table, but accepting that is probably the best way to handle these versus looking through, pricing out each one and saying, okay, this one's 14, this one's 17, this one's 21. Just get a base price across the board and just list them all. And if you leave a couple of dollars on the table on a few of them, doesn't really matter. So hit the like button and we will see you next video.